Go. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the third quarter to year 2018 live webcast of Thai Union Group. We are very happy here that we are attended by our group CFO, Mr. York Irie, and
Hello.
and Mr. Ludovic Gagne, our chief accountant.
Good evening, everyone.
And myself, Balang Wayanon, the IR manager. This live webcast will last for 1 hour, comprised of approximately 40 to 45 minute presentation, and the remaining 15 minutes, the later 15 minutes will be for Q&A. And without further ado, I would like to have Mr. York Irie, our Group CFO, start this live webcast session with a summary and overview of the third quarter result year 2018. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Kun Best. I'd like to welcome you. Good evening in Asia. Good morning in the Americas, and a good day in Europe. We'd like to do our third quarter 2018 results. We had today a good board meeting with our board of directors here in Bangkok. We have discussed the financial statements, the recent developments, some key highlights, and we want to share this with you today in this webcast. Let me jump directly into page 5 of the presentation. This is the key summary, and I'm super excited to share with you. We have a record quarterly net profit in 2015 of 1.73 billion Thai baht in the quarter. That is an improvement of 0.4% year over year, 27% quarter over quarter, and it is 5.1% on revenue. It's based on an operating profit of 1.834 billion Thai baht, which is the result of a very strong cost control, stable tuna prices, and an ability to manage much better our cost position, our raw material pricing, and our customer prices. We have 1% reduction in SG&A. We are at 10.4% with a very stable SG&A ratio, and year over year operating profit increased by 33%, quarter over quarter 55%, and with a 5.4% operating profit. Gross margin has reached 15.7%. That's a great recovery. A year ago, we've been at 14.2%, so it's 1.5 percentage points above. Stable raw material prices have helped. The tuna business is the main driver for the recovery, partly the shrimp business and added value business. Kun Best will share with you a little bit later. And with a revenue of 34.2 billion, we have a slight contraction of the business to a year earlier. Excluding currency, we've declined just 1%, including currency 1.9%. Quarter over quarter, slight growth of 1.1%. So this is a really encouraging sign. Q3 has shown recovery signs, and we're really back on a much better trajectory for our operating profit, our gross margin, and our net profit. Revenue a bit disappointing, I agree. Probably something we have to focus more on. At the same time, I find it's much better to focus on quality of our earnings and not purely on top line growth. Now, having said this, these are the normalized numbers. We have eliminated from these numbers a one-time impairment of a business in Scotland. We have decided to sell or close our Scottish salmon activities. In a subsidiary was called Edinburgh Salmon Company. We've impaired our fixed assets, we've impaired intangibles, and we have impaired part of the goodwill of our European salmon business, and that has a one-time charge, non-cash charge of 420 million Thai baht. We have also moved the business from ongoing business to discontinued operations. So our reported net income is lower than 1.73. It's 1.3 billion. But these are just accounting effects. So overall message, 34.2 billion in revenue, more or less flat, slight decline, 15.7% gross profit based on stable raw material prices, recovery of the operating business, especially in human foods and in tuna and our tuna ambient business, 5.4%, 1.8 billion operating profit, 1.7 billion net income, which is the best net profit since 2015. If I jump to page 6 and we look at the 9 months, net profit declined, still based on weak Q1 and not fantastic Q2. We have now a net profit of 3.967 billion Thai baht. This is, of course, again without the ESCO impairment and without the one-time charge of the antitrust. So we are showing you here the real operating performance of the business. So overall, year over year, the 9 months, the 13.3% decline in net profit, EBITDA 7% decline, operating profit decline, gross profit decline, total sales still 3% below. So for the 9 months, we are suffering a weak Q1 and a not great Q2. But for the Q3 performance, we have really reversed this trend. And if you go to page 7, you can also see this very nicely. We have here 2 of the 3 key indicators. Gross profit grew 8.5%, net profit grew 0.4%. So I think we have really 2 out of 3 key performance indicators, we have started to reverse a trend, and we feel quite confident that we can continue on a positive trajectory. What you can see here, pretty resilient net income since Q1 17. We had then weakness in Q4, Q1, Q3, Q2 18, some recovery, and now with 5.1%, basically the best net income performance since 15. And with this, I'd like to pass to Kun Best to discuss more on recent developments, look at the financial results, and then discuss the business outlook with Kun Ludo sharing some more details with you.
Okay, and on the recent development, Thai Union is very honored as we are among the 16 recognized company in the Asian Money Asia Outstanding Award Company Poll year 2018, as Thai Union has been recognized as the most outstanding company in Thailand, and obviously enough, we have been recognized as the most outstanding company in Thailand in the consumer staples sector. And not only that, the IR Magazine upcoming IR Magazine Award Southeast Asia in year 2018, we have been nominated in multiple categories, including the most progress in investor relations and the best tech in sector on the consumer staples as well. And not only that, I mean, in terms of the actual investment, we have been Thai Union Group has been recognized and honored by the government pension fund first, Thailand First ESG Fund, that they have been established. The Thai Union Group is one of the 33 company that has been selected that can be invested by the government pension fund ESG focused investment portfolio. And not only that, I mean, on the sustainability, we have been recognized on multiple occasions, including we have been in the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, the JSI Index Emerging Market for the 5th consecutive year. We have been awarded the Stop Slavery Award by the Thomson Reuters Foundation as well. So in terms of the growth and innovation, we are finalizing in the step of the oil refinery plant in Rostock, Germany, and we have set up the launch date on the 12th of November. We are expecting the commercial production to start in December year 2018. So clearly the first production batch trial has been run, and we are very confident that the fish oil production commencement should start by the end of this year. And on the expansion, we have with our partnership and investment in Thamachat Seafood, very recently we have worked off this partnership very well, and we are now bringing the F&B concept store that has been previously a success in Bangkok, run by Thamachat Seafood, and we are now launching a Lobster Labs by King Oscar as the F&B kiosk within the Hema or Alibaba offline store premise. This will be the initiative for us to expand business portfolio by focusing on selling the F&B product, mainly the premium seafood and lobster related product. And all these stores will be located at Alibaba retail supermarket around Shanghai area in China. So the store has been open over the last week as already. And with that, I would like to conclude the recent development here and would like to pass the stage to Mr. Ludovic on the financial results summary.
Thanks a lot, Kunbest, and good evening, everyone. So going through the financial results for Q3, we are quite happy, as Jörg said, to present you these numbers. So if I go to page number 16, just going through the key takeaway for the quarter. So the first one is the top line is challenged, indeed. So our reported numbers are decreasing by 1.9%. Half of it is explained by FX. So excluding the FX, the real sales are declining by something like 0.8%, in line with the volume decrease, and we will explain why a bit later. The very good news of this quarter is the gross profit improvement. Indeed, we achieved 15.7%, which is a record since over the last 3 years. And it was only 14.2 in Q3 17 and 14% in Q2 18. And you could see the first graph that Jörg described, the real improvement that we achieved in Q3. So where does it come from? It's mainly coming from the tuna, and I will have the opportunity to elaborate a bit on this, but mainly coming from the tuna, and especially about the raw material price, which is much more stable over the quarter. OEM tuna business is the business which is benefiting the most from this one. On the SG&A, no big deal here. SG&A in value are decreasing by 1%. In relative amount, they are increasing to 10.4%, mainly due to the sale decline. Below operating profit, we don't have the same favorable items that we had last year. Last year, we benefited below the operating profit from a lot of positive items. So we are still generating some FX gain. However, they are much lower than last year. Same regarding the other income. Last year we were benefiting from positive one-off, like insurance claim in the US and stuff like this, and we are not benefiting from the same in Q3 18. And regarding tax, last year we were benefiting from extraordinary tax credit coming from Red Lobster, and they are not happening again in Q3 18. So we have indeed one very significant one-off in Q3 18, which is ESCO, and Jörg started to discuss about this one. So we reclassified ESCO to discontinued operations in our P&L. What does it mean? It means that for 18, from the sales to the OP, you don't have any more contribution from ESCO. Everything has been reclassified to a specific line called discontinued operations. And in accordance with TFRS, we reclassified also the past, meaning Q1, Q2 18, and also the same for 2017. We reclassified ESCO in discontinued operations, since just in order to ease the comparison. Slide 17, we just put a small focus on ESCO. So as we said, we announced in September that we were willing to divest our chilled salmon business in Scotland to sell or to close the factory if we cannot sell the business. And here you can find in this chart the main contribution from ESCO. So the sales from ESCO are representing 300 million baht over the quarter. Usually they represent 1.5 billion baht a year. In terms of gross profit and operating profit, you can see that the contribution from ESCO is not that significant, but the main impact in our Q3 numbers is, of course, coming from the impairment of 420 million baht. So now moving to slide number 18. This is our traditional focus on the tuna price, and I think this is something which is very important this quarter, because this is one of the main drivers for our gross profit improvement in Q3 18. You could see here that in Q3 18, the average tuna price stands around $1,467, and you can see that this is the most favorable price over the last 2 years. It's declining versus Q3 17 and declining also versus Q2 18. If you remember well, in Q3 17, this is a quarter when we started to see the inflation of tuna price. And in Q3 2017, the fish cost was around $2,000. So now it decreased in Q3 18 to $1,400, and this is a very favorable impact for us. You could see also that it started to pick up in September to 1,650, and we included also here the latest fish cost that we have for October, which is around 1,500 on this one. But this is clearly one of the key topics and one of the key explanations of our gross profit recovery in Q3. So slide 19 is focusing on the sales. We already mentioned the decrease versus Q3 17, increasing slightly versus Q2 2018. So the main segments which are benefiting from this are the ambient sales, which are improving 4.4% versus last year, and especially the OEM tuna business in Thailand. Frozen and chilled sales are affected by the shrimp price, which is down by 11%. Over 9 months, sales amount to 97 billion baht, down by 2.9%, mainly explained by the FX. If you exclude the FX, the top line is down only by 1.1% compared to last year. Slide number 20. So here you have the detail and the breakdown by segment. You can see that here we have a very positive impact coming from tuna, and then this is offset tuna, and this is offset by all the other segments where we are declining slightly on the others, plus the FX impact coming from the USD and the euro. So on slide number 21, our traditional breakdown by geographic and by business. So we don't have any big change here. What you can see in 2018 is we have an improvement of our domestic market. We started to see this one since Q1 and Q2 18. So contribution from Thailand and domestic sales are increasing, mainly to the expense of the US. The US is also impacted by the FX this year, which is really decreasing compared to the Thai baht compared to last year. By business, we don't have any big change. The allocation between private label brand is not changing a lot, so it's quite stable on this one. So slide number 22, and this is really the very good news, and we are really happy to present you with these numbers. So the gross profit percentage amount to 15.7%, mainly coming from the tuna. The shrimp business is a bit declining on this one. The lobster is also increasing. The recovery compared to Q3 2017 is really encouraging by 8.5%, also increasing versus Q2 18 by 14% on this one. Over 9 months, we are still declining compared to last year, mainly due to the very weak Q1 and the low Q2. However, the Q3 is really for us a very strong encouragement, and we are very happy with those numbers for Q3 18. Moving to the operating profit, so having a very good GP and having SG&A under control, we deliver in Q3 18 an operating profit amounting by 1.8 billion baht, which is our best performance since 2015, indeed. If you compare to Q3 17, which was around 1.4 billion baht, it's an increase by 33%, and also an increase by 55% compared to Q2 18. SG&A are under control, declining in absolute amount, I said that already, and in relative amount, they are slightly increasing to 10.4%. We don't have any big surprise over the quarter on the SG&A. Over 9 months, SG&A ratio stands around 10.7% versus 10.5% in 2017, so quite under control there. So slide 24, EBITDA is just the consequence of what we discussed before. Strong EBITDA this quarter at 3.2 billion baht, increasing by 5.6% versus last year, and by 15%, 14.9% versus Q2 18. And the margin is also improving, showing the recovery of the profitability there. So the consequence of this is a record Q3 18 on the net income at 1.7. So once again, our reported numbers, our reported net income stands at 1.3. But from this one, we exclude the one-off regarding ESCO impairment, which amount to 0.4 billion baht. By doing this, we have a net income which is really reflecting the performance of the company, standing at 1.7 billion baht. Almost stable compared to Q3 17 and increasing by 26.5% compared to last year. Over 9 months, our management, our adjusted net income is just below 4 billion baht, and our reported net income amounts to 2.2. The difference with the adjusted net income, we have 2 items. The first one was the COSI accrual on the antitrust that we did and we discussed about in Q2. And the second one is the ESCO impairment that we recorded in Q3 2018. So moving to slide 26, apart from the ESCO impairment, we don't have this quarter any specific one-off to mention. So we did not adjust anymore the 1.7 we already discussed about. So slide 27, you have the focus on the EPS. So EPS is recovering in line with the profitability recovery over 1 quarter and still slightly decreasing compared to 9 months 2017, however really recovering in Q3 18. Slide 28, our usual focus on Red Lobster. So we have a positive, as usual, we have a positive net income coming from Red Lobster, just below the 300 million baht. The share profit is recovering, turning positive to 64 million baht. So this is mainly explained by a one-off accounting entry they did. If you exclude this one, they are still positive, but overall just break even. However, improving compared to Q2 18. Other income, finance costs are quite stable on this one. They are just impacted by the FX impact and this change. Income tax is also positive. You know that we have a specific acquisition structure with Red Lobster, which is generating some tax losses, and we are benefiting from this one every quarter. So slide 29, focus on the cash flow. The cash flow, we are also, this is I think the second very good news over the quarter. We achieved 2.2 billion baht of free cash flow in Q3 18. It was only 0.3 billion baht in Q3 17, so a huge recovery. Q2 18, we did 3.8. So the cash flow performance is really strong. In 2018, it was clearly a very clear focus from the top management here, and we are very happy with this achievement. Of course, part of this one is coming from the fish price decrease, and it's just a mechanical effect, but apart from this one, we have a real improvement of the performance. If you look at the K ratio in terms of DSO, DPO, and DIO, we are improving everywhere. So on slide 30, this is our focus on the net debt. Our net debt is decreasing in absolute amount despite the dividend payment. I remind you that at the end of December 2017, our gearing ratio, net debt to equity ratio, stand around 1.38. At the end of September, it's around 1.40. So here we could imagine we would have a better improvement here. However, we are impacted by the antitrust quasi accrual we did in Q2 and also by the impairment. So our net profit, our reported net profit, is not that high for 2018. Plus, you have the impact also on the dividend payments, and this is why our net debt to equity ratio is not improving more than this one. However, this remains, again, a very clear focus from the top management, and we are willing to improve those numbers going forward. On the funding side, we don't have any big change. By currency, you could see that this is traditional view. Thai baht is still representing 98.5% of our net debt, so we don't have any big change. If you look at by maturity compared to 2017, we have an increase of our current portion. No big surprise here, just a mechanical effect, and we are working on this one. Slide 32, so the focus on the net working capital items. So you can see, first of all the profitability ratio are improving. ROE, ROCE, net debt to equity are all improving thanks to the recovery in terms of profitability. But if you look at the net working capital KPI also, the inventories days, or DIO, stand at 125 days in Q3 18, and really improving compared to Q2 and to Q1 18. And the net working capital is only at 109 days also, at 41 billion baht. So I think this is again one of our very good achievements over the quarter. We are willing to continue to put the pressure on this one and to improve this performance here. Having said that, I will pass through to Khun Best to go through the key other items.
On the key operating items, like what Ludo has been mentioning, the stable tuna price and actually has been falling, has been helping significantly in terms of the margin improvement. The third quarter average tuna price was coming in at $1,467 per ton, which is a decline 27% compared to last year and 12% quarter on quarter. So this has been a big help. Not only that, the shrimp price and salmon prices also response in a decline, both on year-on-year basis. The shrimp price has been declining 11% year-on-year, and salmon price has been declined by 3% year-on-year. So that has been part of that has been supporting the third quarter strong performance. Okay. The key on the currency wise, the US dollars has been show some of the depreciation trend compared to the second quarter, where the Thai baht has been appreciated very much, and as a result, the US dollars has Thai baht has been depreciating against US dollars by 3% compared to last quarter, and appreciating by 1.2% compared to last year. So right now, I mean, we are seeing the US dollars and Thai baht exchange rate has become a bit more stabilized, and so as the euro currency and the pounds exchange rate as well. On the business segment wise, on the ambient seafood, this is where we have seen a significant improvement in terms of operation. The sales have been growing strong at 4.4% compared to last year. This has been driven mainly by the product price adjustment, because especially on the branded side, where we have increased the price and therefore has been putting some pressure on the volume sales. But nonetheless, we are still delivering a solid improvement in terms of the net profit on the gross profit margin. Noted that the branded business, despite the shrinking volume, and we have been well compensated by the improved gross profit margin to 21% of gross profit margin for branded business. And not only that, we have seen a private label gross profit margin has been improved pretty significantly compared to last quarter to about 16%. And as a result, the ambient seafood has been a key driver for recovery and strong performance in the third quarter. And on a 9-month basis, the ambient sales has been recorded at 47.3 billion Thai baht, up about 0.5% compared to last year. The frozen and chilled seafood, we have seen that the profitability has been improved compared to on the quarter-on-quarter basis. If you recall, during the first and the second quarter of this year, we have been the frozen business, especially the shrimp exported out of Thailand, has been heavily affected by the strong currency appreciation, Thai baht appreciation in particular. So as a result, we have seen the poor performance during the first and second quarter. But nonetheless, during the third quarter, we have recovered the gross profit margin to the 10% level, which is in line with the historical average and pretty much similar to the level during the third quarter year 2017. But even say that we have seen the sales have been declined by 8% compared to last year. And those are mostly due to the fact that the shrimp price have been declining by 11% compared to last year. And also the sales volume have been declined by 3% compared to last year as well. But on the quarter-on-quarter picture, we have seen some of the recovery, partly because of our change and shift in strategy of the shrimp business to focus more on non-US market. And on the salmon business, we have also seen the recovery as a result of the salmon price has been declining compared to on quarter basis by 16%. So the salmon business has profit margin has also shown a recovery in the third quarter when compared to the second quarter. On the pet care, value added and others, we have seen sales decline by 5.4%. But however, these are mostly due to the sale classification. But on the gross profit margin, we have seen the increase of the gross profit margin to 21%, and this has been supported by both the improved operation of pet care and value-added product. On the regional geographic sales breakdown, North America still account for, during the first 9 months of this year, North America account for 39% of our total sales, European market for 31% of total sales, Thailand domestic sale account for 10%, and the remaining of the market account for the rest 20%. On the US and Canada market, we have seen the business sales decline by 8.5% in Thai baht term. Clearly, the strong and the Thai baht appreciation against US dollars still play a part in terms of the weakness in Thai baht sales. But on top of that, we have seen the chicken of the sea price recovery has shown some effect on the volume sales. However, on the frozen business has still continued to deliver volume sales growth, while the sales has been stable compared to last year. And as mentioned before by Ludo, the Red Lobster operation has been recovered to the marginal break even during the third quarter of this year. On the European business, the third quarter European sales has been stable at 0.4% growth compared to last year. The increase in terms of the product pricing has been offset by the volume decline, but nonetheless that has been yielding a more favorable profit margin as seen especially in the branded ambient seafood segment. The European salmon business has reported a sales decline from falling salmon price, but nonetheless the margin has been improved due to the very same reason for the falling salmon pricing. For Thailand market, the sales during the third quarter has been declined by 9%, but overall for the first 9 months, we continue to see the sales growth of Thai market has been continued to be favorable. And in Thailand, we continue to focus on new product initiative, the select meal product, and especially the collaboration with Thamachat Seafood should yield some of the soon to come initiative very soon. On the emerging market and the rest of the world, we have continued to see the strong growth of 12.7% compared to last year. One of the initiatives that we have been mentioned earlier about the expansion in China, including the collaboration with Thamachat Seafood on the food service, we are now being able to find a new way to penetrate into the Chinese market. And these are basically some summary of the third quarter profitability by segment. We have been reporting the sales of 34 0.2 billion Thai baht, and with the gross profit margin of 15.7%, we are delivering a gross profit of 5.4 billion Thai baht. Okay. And without further ado, I would like to end our presentation here. And that's now I'd like to open a Q&A session for any inquiry you may have. For any participation who have any inquiry, please type in the question box on the right of the screen and click send. For now, we have quite a list of questions that has already been submitted during the presentation has been happening. So we will try to respond to every one of them as they come in.
So we have a first question, which is regarding the gross profit recovery over this quarter, which is clearly the key event. And the question is, what are the main factors driving these improvements? So here, maybe I would like to insist on two specific slides. Let me get back to this one. The first one is slide 18. Sorry, it's a bit slow, which is related to the tuna price on this one. So here, I think this graph is very important for you to understand the performance. We are enjoying in Q3 18 with the lowest tuna price since over the last 2 years at 1,467. Okay, and it is decreasing compared to Q2 18. If you compare to last year, Q3 18, the tuna price started to increase and increasing again in Q4 2017. So in this year, we don't have the same story. The tuna price, we have less pressure on the tuna price, and this is clearly for us much less pressure on the sales and also on our profitability. So, and I think this is a key driver that we want to insist on. There is another one, which is another key factor, which is related to the FX. If you remember, in Q1 and in Q2, we insisted on the fact that the USD has been really depreciating versus Thai baht. In Q3 2018, the USD is still depreciating versus Thai baht. However, in a much smaller extent than in Q1 and in Q2. So here in slide 35, you can see that in average, the USD was around 33 Thai baht in Q3 18, which is not that far away from Q3 17. If you compare to Q1 and Q2 18, the change was something around 10% for Q1 and 7% for Q2. So these are really key items. Of course, these items we cannot control on. So apart from this one, there were also some improvement of our intrinsic performance. So you know that we have always some time lag between the fish cost increase and the price we can pass through to our customers. And now the price increase are effective everywhere in the US and also in Europe and also in Thailand, and we are benefiting from this one. And the main driver in terms of segments are tuna, as I said. Pet care is also improving on this one. So all in all, these are the key items we wanted to focus on, and they are the one explaining the gross profit 15.7 record level.
Okay. And for the other question, there's been a question coming in on how does falling tuna price help margin? Obviously, the falling tuna price does help. But on top of that, I mean, on top of just explaining by the falling tuna price, we see that the price recovery that we have been negotiating with our customer, that we've been talking and passing on the price increase to reflect the current market price, and the stable raw material price environment are actually the key factor that has been helping and supporting the stability of the margin, and for now and for the going forward in the future.
So we have a question regarding, are there any factors affecting the volatility of tuna price? This is a very good question, I guess, on this one. There are a lot of factors on this one.
I mean, a few things have been mentioned and it's been speculating in terms of the factor that affecting the volatility of the tuna price. I mean, clearly the weather pattern has always played the important part in terms of the amount of catching that has been happening around the world. But on top of that, one of the key structural trends that we have seen, and we are in support of it, despite the fact that it would cause overall increase in tuna price, is a sustainability efforts. We acknowledge the importance of the sustainability, the preservation of the natural resources to make sure that these resources are last to the next generation. Therefore, I mean, Thai Union will not hesitate to do the right thing, even though may have hurt us in the near term. But we believe that this will be eventually the trend and the name of the game that the people or the global player will come to recognize. Fortunately, we have been receiving a good support and a good recognition from a number of the global retail player. The sustainability initiative and all the practice that come accommodating it is another key structural factor that's been influencing or supporting the tuna price increase over the past few years.
So now we have another question regarding the gross profit margin we can expect for Q4 2018. So we don't provide any specific guidance for Q4 2018 by quarter. We do everything we can to maintain a good level of margin on this one, and it will depend a lot, of course, on the tuna price. We have also a question about will there be any further extra items in the next quarter. So far, we don't have any on them. Of course, the impact of ESCO will be important depending on what do we do if we sell or if we have to close the factory. There may be some further impact in Q4 2018.
The next question is, why did SG&A to sales remain higher on year-on-year basis? Well, the SG&A to sales ratio is the equation between the SG&A and sales. Fortunately, we would like to emphasize that due to the strict cost control initiative that we implemented by the company, we have our SG&A expenses on absolute basis during the third quarter actually declined by 0.9% compared to last year. However, due to the weak sales, compounded by the fact that the Thai baht appreciation has caused our sales to decline by 1.9%, which are presenting in the way that the SG&A to sales ratio has marginally increased from last year from 10.3% during the third quarter of last year to 10.4% during the third quarter of this year. Nonetheless, I mean, we are continue to push through in terms of the cost cutting and cost conscious initiative. And there's been another question about if the company can reach target of 1 billion. But the cost reduction program this year, we are still in the third quarter summary, and we still have 1 quarter to go. But so far, we have been tracking the plan and cost cutting initiative very well, as we have seen the absolute SG&A has been declining compared to last year.
So next question is related to the trend of the tuna price for Q4 18 and for next year. So of course we don't have any crystal ball, and in our business it's very, very difficult to predict the tuna price, and usually when you give some guidance and some expectation, then you are usually always wrong. So we will not try to provide any guidance on this. What you could see in October, the tuna price was around $1,525. We don't expect such increase like the one which happened in Q4 2017 where the tuna price reached $2,000. So for Q4 18, we expect a tuna price between $1,500 to $1,600.
And on the discontinued operation item of 451 million Thai baht, there has been a question of what is the difference between 451 million Thai baht on the discontinued operation line compared to the 420 million internal asset impairment. Can we explain the difference? The key thing is that the discontinued operation comprised of a few items. One is that it is comprised of approximately about 24 million Thai baht of the expenses related to the recently disposed fishing fleet operation. And for the rest of it, we have the remaining 427 million Thai baht that is related to ESCO. However, we have only recognize the 420 million, which is directly related to the asset impairment expenses regarding to ESCO operation as the one-off items. We are still consider the remaining 7 million Thai baht losses of ESCO as part of our as part of the operation, and we did not segregate it as part of the one-off that we will want to let's say exclude from our normal operation.
So next question is related to Avanti, and more specifically, why did the profitability of Avanti reduce in Q3 18? So Avanti, of course, is a listed company, so all the informations are available on the internet. What we can say maybe on this one is 2017 for Avanti was really exceptional for different reasons, for effects for raw materials. So they did really well compared to in 2017. And they did not achieve the same performance in 2018. However, if you look at the long-term performance of Avanti, they are still growing compared to 2016 on this one. And I think this is what we need to keep in mind. There may be some positive one-off happened in 2017, which are not happening again. However, overall, we are still very satisfied and very happy with our investment and partnership with Avanti.
And there has been a question of, is there any other extra item apart from the asset impairment of 420 million of ESCO during this quarter? We are happy to say that there is no others one-off item aside the asset impairment amount of 420 million Thai baht that we have been recognized as extra item during one-off or special item during the third quarter of this year.
So we have next question, which is related to ESCO. So is there any potential buyer of ESCO, and how much would the employee compensation be in case of business closure? So since we announced the divestiture or the closing of ESCO, we have several parties which seems to be interested. So of course we launched a sale process on this one. We cannot say anything regarding the output of this one. It's a long story before having somebody really willing to buy the business. So there are some discussions which are ongoing. For the time being, our preferred option is clearly to sell the business, and we say that if we cannot sell it, then we'll close this one. For the time being, we don't disclose any amount regarding the potential employee compensation. Of course, if this is finally the final scenario, then we will comply with the local legal requirement on this.
And there has been a question about what kind of domestic product you have enjoyed higher sales. Clearly, as due to the impact from the Thai baht currency appreciation starting from this year, we have all been aware that the shrimp product has been, let's say, Thailand has been in the less competitive position against other competing country. As a result, we have been focusing on sell more of the product, especially the shrimp product, to Thailand market, which are less prone to the currency problem and issue, and as a result, that has been fruitful for us so far, and that has been yielding the result in terms of the profit margin improvement on the consecutive quarter since starting from the quarter one of this year.
Next question is related to innovation, and one topic is, can you introduce more about newly launched innovative products? I just want to get back to one specific slide that Khun Bes covered during the presentation, which is some update regarding our German factory, fish oil. So if you get back, it's in slide 12. On this one, we are very happy about this one. We have been facing a bit of delay in the commissioning of the factory, but now it's commissioned, and the first commercial production is expected for December 2018. So the principle of this one is to have some synergies between Thailand and Germany, and having some fish oil from Thailand being used to produce some crude oil, from Thailand being refined in Germany on this one. So very happy about this one. This is clearly a very good innovation. So far, the impact in 2018 will be small because the sale will only start at the end of the year. But next year we will really see an impact from this one, and we are very happy about this development. This is something we have been working about the last years, and we are very happy to see this one becoming real on this one. And we have on this slide the key output that we can expect from this factory. We have another question regarding Red Lobster. Red Lobster, we can maybe get back to the detail which was provided. Which slide is it? In slide 28 on this one. So we have some question regarding the share profit of Red Lobster, which is positive in Q3 18 compared to negative in Q2 18. So what we can see on this one, so we say that this 64 million baht included a one-off, which is close to 58 million baht, if I'm correct. So if you exclude this specific one-off, which is just an accounting entry that Red Lobster did, their net income, their share profit is still positive, but very small, something around 6 million baht on this one. It's small, however, it's, yes, recovering compared to Q2 18. Q2 18 was impacted by negative one-off. There were the impact of the hurricane, the sales were not that great. It's improving in Q3 18. However, we are still not happy with the overall performance of Red Lobster, and we want these investments to deliver more on this one. Now, if we try to look forward, Q4 18 we expect from a loss from Red Lobster. You know that the seasonality of Red Lobster is very significant, and every year on Q4 they deliver a loss. For the timing, we are not able to say how much they will deliver on this one. But there was a specific one-off in Q3 18, and this is the main reason and the main driver for the improvement of Red Lobster.
Okay, that's all of them. Okay, and I think we have exhausted the question on the list. And that's all about Red Lobster. Okay, and this concludes the live webcast for Thai Union Group third quarter result year 2018 announcement today. Thank you very much for your time and interest in participating in the event today. If you have any further inquiry, please feel free to contact IR department anytime during the office hour. I wish you have a good day and thank you very much for joining.
Thanks a lot. Good evening, everyone.
Bye-bye.